Hi, we are from 10.2 and today we're going to talk to you about the 3R activity from English Day.
What are 3Rs? The 3R rule aims to stimulate citizen participation from the household level in the fight against the degradation of the planet by reducing, reusing, and recycling.
What does reduce mean? It means reducing the volume of products we consume.
We must avoid buying unnecessary things just for the sake of buying. To manufacture what we buy, raw materials are need all good or wild.
Due to its difficult extraction or its scarcity in nature, we cannot afford to waste equally worrisome the enormous amount of garbage generated by the wrappers and containers of many of the things we buy in our daily life.
What do you reuse mean? In involves using an object that has already been used again, either for the same purpose for which it was created or for a different one.
In this way, we extend the life and prevent it from becoming garbage. The more objects we reduce, the less garbage we produce, and the fewer resources we will have to expend on making new ones. What does recycle mean? It consists of manufacturing new products using materials obtained for others used once. So, a transformation process.
Paper, cardboard, and glass, metal, and plastic containers can be recycled without problem. For this, it is very important to separate each waste in different containers that we have on the streets of our city.
Advices: do not throw plastic bottles. You can turn in your deposit for your home plants, vertical gardens, ornaments, etc. Use reusable bags. Although many companies sell types of bags, you can also encourage yourself to create your own. You can even recycle unused clothing for this purpose. Store these empty jars, whatever material they are. This can be useful for storing small objects and keeping order in your home. Buy recycled paper and print on both sides when using paper in any place. Print both sides of the sheet and recycle the paper when you are finished. Recycled food is more commonly referred to as composting, but is still a form of the process. Nonetheless, organic matter in the grease source of the methane emissions, and infinitely landfill fills
We are
are
going
bursting with it.
the activities. The first question is, do you separate your garbage properly? The second question is, do you use water properly? The third question is, do you know the damage spray products do? The fourth question, has the air pollution problem been solved anywhere? And the fifth question, what measures can governments take to improve air? And the sixth question is, what measures can business and industry take?
Bogota among the most critical places for pollution in Latin America. Study analysis life expectancy that people have lost due to air pollution. Half of Latin Americans are exposed to high levels of pollution, and the most critical points are in Colombia, Peru, and Brazil. This was stated in the annual energy policy report of the University of Chicago. The study points to Bogota and Medellin, both in Colombia, as the main cause of these high levels of pollution. The study points to vehicle emissions and heavy traffic congestion as the main causes of these high levels of pollution. To reduce their alarming pollution levels, the study calls for raising vehicle energy efficiency standards and encouraging the closure of coal-fired power plants.
The volumes of this material will flow into the sea will almost triple, with an annual quantity of between 23 and 37 million tons. This meant about 50 kilograms of plastic per meter of contained worldwide. As a result, all marine species, from plankton and mollusks to birds, turtles, and mammals, face risks of poisoning via viral disorders, starvation, and suffocation. The project will contribute to improving the scope of knowledge outcomes for stakeholders to inform decision-making and action through the range of means. A drastic reduction is necessary. Avoidable and problematic plastic is crucial to address the global pollution crisis. According to a comprehensive assessment published by the United Nations Environment Programme, the document shows that public pollution is a growing threat to all ecosystems, from where pollution originates to the sea, affecting health, the economy, biodiversity, and the climate. It also shows that we have the no well. We need the political will and urgent action of governments to address this growing crisis. The report highlights that plastic accounts for 85% of the waste that reaches the oceans and warms that by 2040.
Inhabitants of Cartagena are concerned about the alert that has been recently disseminated, in which it is said that the city is sinking. We are interested in the Bay of Cartagena because it's one of the most complex systems in the coastal zone, not only in Colombia, but in the Caribbean. Because on the one hand it is a tourist destination, and on the other hand it has some of the most important ports in the country. What the study found regarding pollution and sea level rise, considering that every year the sea level rise 7 millimeters, of which climate change is responsible for 3.2. The study predicts, according to its high precision models, that the sea level by the year 2050 will grow by 26 centimeters, only due to climate change, and another 35 centimeters with subsidence. However, this problem is the reason why the Basic Cartagena project was born. They have recommended that the necessary resources for climate change mitigation should be focused on infrastructure and monitoring of subsidence with the new stations, as well as continue to ensure that pollution in the city is stopped with the help of all its inhabitants.
Water and pollution in California's waters after oil spill will last for years. The oil spill that affected the coasts of Southern California has had a great impact on marine life and the ecosystem. While the authorities try to contain the spread of crude oil, environmentalists warn that the mesh has been down and that the contamination in the area will last for many years. And my solution will be to close all kind of companies that are in charge of extracting the oil and stop to think only about the economic, not to worry about the consequences and the mind affected, which are animal life and the environment.
The University of Chicago recently published annual energy policy report states that half of Latin America's 600 million people are exposed to high levels of pollution, with the worst hotspot being in Colombia, Peru, and Brazil. The study, which produces the Air Quality Life Index, analyzes the life expectancy that people have lost due to air pollution. In view of the panorama, the solution to this problem could be transport without smoke, which invites citizens to denounce, demands, and photos the vehicles that are polluting the county's environment. For this, the authorities must have a page available to visualize the photos. The photographs will serve as evidence to analyze the work developed by the automotive diagnostic centers that perform the technical mechanical review. Then the superintendent will initiate forceful action if necessary, including suspension of the center and fines.
Do you have a special bin box in your classroom where you place your used papers? Have you ever seen garbage cans in restaurants and on the street that say recycle? At home or at school, you may be encouraged to recycle things like bottles, paper, and other items when you're finished with them, instead of just throwing them into the trash. But what is recycling? Recycling is taking used materials like cans, plastics, newspapers, magazines, and glass bottles and turning them into new products that we can use again. So why is recycling important? Well, instead of making an entirely new item each time we need something like plastic jugs, bottles, and cardboard, with recycling, we can use plastic jugs, bottles, and cardboard and make new things. Used plastic jugs that hold things like milk can be cleaned, melted down, and made into new jugs. Glass bottles can be crushed and melted and then formed into new glass bottles. Cardboard can be chopped up, washed, and heated to make things like cereal boxes, paper towels, and tissues. Recycling also protects natural resources like trees, minerals, and oil. For example, most paper is made from trees. But if old paper is recycled, fewer trees are needed to create new paper. Recycling also uses less energy. It reduces pollution in the air, water, and land, which protects the environment and the earth. There are 3 steps for successful recycling. First, items to be recycled need to be collected. You might have noticed that in addition to your regular trash cans or bins, you may have a blue or green can too. Lots of communities provide these cans in addition to the regular trash cans. You can put your recyclable items in these cans. They are then picked up by big trucks, like your trash. But unlike your trash, the items in the recyclable cans are taken to the recycling centers. Second, the items must be sorted into different categories, like paper, glass, aluminum, and plastic. That's because each material is recycled differently from the other. So it's important to keep the paper with the paper and the plastic with the plastic. Third, the recycled items must be processed at a recycling plant in special ways depending on what the item is. For example, magnets are used to separate different types of cans, and then they are washed and smashed. After that, the cans are melted down in a hot furnace, and then the metal is formed into something new. Paper, on the other hand, is chopped into tiny pieces, then turned into a pulp by adding water. After that, it's bleached, and chemicals are added. Then it's ready to be made into new paper. Pretty neat, huh? One of the goals of recycling is to reduce waste. When you think about the ways you can help cut down on waste, remember these 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. We've already talked a lot about recycling, but what about the other 2 R's? To reduce simply means to cut back on the amount of trash you make. Instead of getting a new piece of paper every time you want to draw a picture, Try using the back of an old piece of paper. If you bring home lunch to school, instead of using plastic bags for your lunch items, try using containers that can be washed and reused again. Reusing is finding a new way to use trash so that you don't have to throw it out. For example, you could make an empty plastic milk jug into a bird feeder. You can also see if something is fixable before you decide to toss it out and get a new one. Add recycling to those other two R's, and you've got 3 great ways to help the environment and decrease the amount of trash in our landfills. The best part? It's something that you can work on every day. And it can be fun too. Here are some other ideas on how to reduce, reuse, and recycle. Ask your parents to bring their own reusable bags to the grocery store instead of using the plastic ones. Instead of throwing out your old socks, make a sock puppet or a sock snake. Think of an item in your house, like empty cereal boxes, that can be recycled or used in an art project. Donate your old clothes that don't fit anymore. You could give them to a friend, a cousin,